Welcome to On Cue Magazine. I'm Stacy Smith. Anyone with children will tell you a baby's first word is something that a parent will never forget. And as children grow, their speaking ability becomes a major factor in their success through life. For many people, though, words come easily, but not so for some children who struggle to speak because of a condition called apraxia. Well, tonight, On Cue's Tonya Caruso shows how researchers and parents are gaining ground when it comes to identifying and treating apraxia.
It was the plan, to get married and start our family. Kate did not have an easy birth. Her heart stopped. She was an emergency C-section and went without oxygen for, whatever amount of minutes.
But after she was born, little Kate seemed fine, and her parents, Kathy and Drew Bauer of Mount Lebanon, were happy and proud of their beautiful baby girl.
We always used to think that Kate was going to speak early because she made so many speech attempts. She even had a few words that she would say. And then somehow when she was a little bit younger than 2, she just lost everything. She still made the speech attempts, but there were no speech sounds that were there.
But Kate kept trying to talk, and when she couldn't, she grew more and more frustrated. So did her mother, who feared her daughter might never speak.
She received a diagnosis of developmentally delayed, which, I think basically means they didn't really know. They knew that there was something going on, but they couldn't put a name to it. So she started speech therapy at that time.
Kathy didn't get an official diagnosis on Kate until after the birth of her second child, Andy. He, too, was unable to speak.
Every time I looked at him, I just cried. And then I kind of got mad because it became very clear to me that he wanted to. I mean, he really tried to speak. He was always trying to speak. I knew that this child was very smart and was very intelligent and had many gifts. At that point, Andy was 3 and was diagnosed as apraxic. And then the speech therapist went back and took another look at her with that in mind and said, Katie also shows many of the characteristics of an apraxic child.
Like so many people, Kathy Bauer had never heard of apraxia. It's a complex and baffling neurological disorder. Children with apraxia typically have unclear or severely limited speech, yet they're able to understand what is being said to them.
What room is this?
This is a room we call the control room for one of our studies that we're doing for the National Institutes of Health.
Dr. Tom Campbell is an expert on speech problems. He's director of audiology and communication disorders at Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh.
Apraxia of speech is a problem in trying to plan the motor event for moving your articulators. Your articulators being, your jaw, your lips, your tongue, and other parts of the inside of your mouth.
So, in other words, a child who has apraxia, they want to speak, but they can't make it happen.
That's right. They often know what they want to say, but they can't actually take that event, the sound they want to say, and plan the motor activities that go along with it.
I want a hammer too. I need a hammer too.
Diagnosing children with apraxia isn't easy. In fact, it's often misdiagnosed.
In terms of diagnosis, it's one of the biggest challenges that we have both as researchers and as clinicians, because what happens with kids that are suspected of having apraxia of speech, some of their characteristics are very similar to those kids that have another speech disorder that is very frequent, developmental articulation problems, or speech disorders of unknown origin.
You try it. Ooh. That's our ooh to e sound. Ooh. Nice try.
But once doctors zero in on the problem and confirm that it's apraxia, speech therapy is the next step. Therapists use a variety of approaches, all aimed at helping children learn where and how sounds are made.
A lot of times they don't know where kids with apraxia, where to put their tongue and their lips. So we have to give them maybe cues in terms of, maybe some sign language. We may have to show them with a diagram where their tongue has to be. We give them input. We have machines or computers that will transduce or change the voice into some visual display so they can see where their tongue and their lips might be. So we have to give them a lot more input about where the articulators need to be. Well, can I call him Kitty? I'll just call him Kitty. How about that?
I can call him Tiger.
You can call him Tiger.
To learn more about speech disorders in children, Dr. Campbell and therapists from several universities across the country are working together on a study.
We're measuring different motor systems in the children, how they move their lips and their tongue and their jaw, how they actually coordinate their moving of their vocal folds in their voice box with speech production, and how they actually regulate that with their respiratory system. So we're taking these little 3- and 4-year-old kids, both normal kids and kids suspected of having a speech problem, and we're trying to identify if there are certain characteristics in certain parts of the speech system that are different, that we might be able to use as a new classification system for both kids that have developmental articulation problems and kids that have apraxia of speech.
Intense therapy can make all the difference in the world for children with apraxia. Kathy, Kate, and Andy can testify to that. And while Andy continues his speech therapy, big sister Kate is already thinking about college.
Hopefully, in the long run, I can maybe become an actress. You know, that way I'd be able to show people that a speech disorder wouldn't let something wouldn't get in the way of you becoming something that you've always wanted to become. But yeah, I'm excited.
Talk to me about the website you built for your dad.
It took me 2 summers, and it's a live auction site.
At this point, the kids are doing terrific. Andy's in 8th grade. He does really well in school. He's very gifted in computer sciences. He's fun, he's funny. He's just a great person to be around. Kate is terrific. She's getting ready to drive. They're both just beautiful, bright, articulate. I think that parents need to go with their instincts. If you think there's a problem with your child, if you think that their speech is delayed, regardless of what someone's telling you, you need to go get that evaluation.
A little long, puppet.
Kids with speech production problems who are not resolved early in their lives have huge issues with literacy, or at risk for issues with literacy. You know, they're at risk for isolation. They're at risk for social issues.
Okay.
Know what those red flags are and just deal with this head on and get these kids help.
Now both Kate and Andy went through a total of 13 therapy sessions each week for several years. Andy, as we mentioned, is still in therapy but doing well. And that brings us to some very important information about a national organization designed to help kids with apraxia. It was started right here in Pittsburgh. The group is called CASANA. It stands for Childhood Apraxia of Speech Association of North America. The Bowers are very involved in this program. It basically has become the go-to place for information about the disorder. CASANA has a professional advisory board made up of therapists and some of the best researchers in the country. CASANA holds informational sessions, trainings, and more. It's helped countless families across the United States. If you would like more information on apraxia, you can call CASANA at 412-767-6589. Again, that's 412-767-6589. 6589, or you can go to our website at WQED.org, click the On Cue logo on the first page, and we will link you to that website. And Stacy, both Kate and Andy are just so fabulous, and their mother Kathy has really spent so much time working on CASANA and really providing a source of information for parents and families to go to and use.
It's interesting because Kate was not diagnosed right away. Andy basically was when they felt something was wrong there.
Right.
Have they determined why some children have apraxia and others don't?
No, really, at this point, they have not, and that's why the research is so important. Kathy Bauer told us they later determined her husband had apraxia, so she believes it might be inherited, but really, Stacy, there is no scientific data to prove that, and that's why the research that is underway as well is so important.
All right, Tonya, thank you.
Welcome.
Still to come, yoga for children. Find out how this popular form of exercise is being used to help local children feel better about their bodies and themselves. And then after that, we uncover a local rattlesnake rescue mission. We'll show you why local groups are trying to save the snake. That's coming up when On Cue continues.
You're watching On Cue magazine.